Hi there! In today's video, I'm going to create a Santa Claus GPT. I know it's after Christmas already, but who cares? Actually, I just want to play around with the technologies involved in creating this. So basically, I want to create a website that has a picture of Santa Claus on it, and then I can speak to Santa Claus with my voice, and then it will answer me with his voice. And I want the mouth of Santa Claus to move as he's speaking. And of course, Santa Claus will actually be ChatGPT pretending to be Santa Claus. So let's see if we can do this. Let's start by creating the image of Santa Claus. So of course, I'm going to use ChatGPT to create this. So let's say create an image of Santa Claus sitting in front of a fireplace. Let's start with this and see how it looks like. And here we have an image which looks pretty good, but actually I want a wide angle image, not a square. So I'm going to say, create another one, but make it wide aspect ratio, not wide angle, wide aspect ratio. And here we have a wide aspect ratio version. Now, this Santa Claus has a lot of beard, so I'm not sure how we can animate him to actually speak. But this looks pretty good. I think we could use this as a background image on a website. But now the tricky part is how do we animate him speaking? So what I want to try is what I used when I made a game with Raylib with ChatGPT. And there I created like a sprite sheet of the animation of the character walking. So maybe we can do the same thing with Santa Claus. So I'm going to say, create a sprite sheet of Santa Claus face where in each image his mouth is in a different position as if he is speaking. Now the problem that might happen here is that now this is going to be not in the same kind of realistic format, but let's see what it does. And of course ChatGPT will create a different Santa Claus every time. And okay, that's kind of good because we have these different mouth movements, but of course this is not a realistic Santa Claus anymore. I might just say create the sprite sheet with a realistic Santa Claus, but I'm not quite sure if this will work because ChatGPT might be trained on sprite sheets with non-realistic characters. But actually that is a very funny Santa Claus. But we might still be able to use something like this. I will actually recreate this and see if the next one will be better. Okay, and we have another version, which again, for some reason, looks kind of angry and scary. Let me actually try to recreate this image, but so that Santa Claus is in the middle of the screen and looking towards the camera. Create a wide aspect ratio image of Santa Claus sitting in front of a fireplace in the middle of the image and looking straight into the camera. Okay, and in fact, this Santa Claus's face kind of looks similar, well, not really, a little bit similar to this one. So we might be able to cut it out from here and then slap it on top of this one. So I'm going to save this image, and this image looks very similar to the first one we created. So let's actually try to do this again, but I will say create the image with his mouth open. And let's hope, actually I can edit this one, and let's hope that the image will be similar enough that we could just replace the face of Santa Claus from this image. Now in Mid-Journey, there is a way to set like a seed or something that then it will create a similar looking image every time or a similar looking person, but I'm not sure if you can do that with GPT-4. We might have to use Mid-Journey for this. I'll just add here, his mouth should be open as if he is speaking. And let's see what this creates. Okay, we got a completely different looking Santa Claus. How about the face? Is it different? Let's change to this version. Well, it is quite different, but not super different. The beard is a different color. Let me try to do this one more time, and I think then I have to change strategies. And we have, again, a completely different Santa Claus. So this is not going to work. Now, I'm going to save this kind of creepy looking Santa Claus. And Adobe has a product, which I don't remember what it's called, Adobe AI Photo Editor, which I think I am actually paying for. Adobe Express, I think this is it. So if I sign in here, then I should be able to use it. So with this one, I can actually select parts of an image and then ask the AI to make modifications. So what if I upload here an image somehow? I haven't really used this that much. Where can I upload? Your stuff. I don't have any stuff. Let's just click plus and let's start with like a YouTube thumbnail image. And I can upload an image from here. And let's take this image that I saved last. And can I like make this the full size of this? Nice. And then I can use generative fill. And I can brush in here the mouth. And then I can say, make Santa say, oh. And I generate it. So let's see what will happen. Okay, we actually did something, but it looks kind of weird. And we actually got multiple different versions, which are all horrible. This is the best one, but still kind of weird. Let's actually undo this and let's make the area a little bit smaller. I want to just change that area. Make Santa say, oh. Okay. That is terrifying. What on earth? Okay, this is not horrible. It's not saying oh, but it is saying something. I might in fact save this one. I guess I can download it here. Okay. And then I guess I can undo this thing and I can do generative fill again and try to make him say oh. Make Santa's mouth round as if he is saying the letter O. Okay. Again, it's kind of horrible, but it kind of works. So it's terrifying, but I like it. Can I just redo the same thing again? It's almost there. Make Santa's mouth round as if he is saying the letter O. And I better copy this because otherwise I won't hear the end of it in the comments. But I forgot to brush the thing. Okay, it actually worked without doing the brush. And here he's saying O. That's clearly O. But his lips are a bit too pink here. Okay, I am going to download this one as well. And I'll try to make all kinds of different mouth movements and let's see how it will look like. Alright, I have now created a bunch of different images of the mouth movements and one where he's actually waving. So let's see how these will look like. So let's try to animate these just now in this image viewer. So I will just press next and let's see how this looks like. Okay, some of these are good, but some of them are kind of weird. Okay, here he is saying hello. That's pretty nice. And here he is closing his eyes. And here maybe he's saying the letter M. And here he's opening his mouth. And here too. And here he's saying oh. And here again we are opening the mouth. And I don't know what's happening here. And yeah, again, opening the mouth looks pretty good. And again, oh, so not horrible. Maybe there's a couple good ones in here. So let's try to add some actual speech into this and then try to somehow animate Santa Claus speaking. And let's see what it will look like. And I'm going to use ElevenLabs for the voice. So let's go to ElevenLabs and see what kind of voices we have. Actually, I'm running out of free characters, so I might have to pay $5 for this. But let's take a look at the voices and let's find a Santa voice. Is there actually a Santa voice already? Can I search somewhere? Actually, it's voice library, not voice lab. Is there Santa?
Experience is not what happens to a man. It is what a man does with what happens to him.
Okay, let's try a couple of these and let's try to find.
Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself.
Okay, that might be Santa.
Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail.
Not this one. Okay, I think I have found now the perfect voice for Santa, which is Oswald. So take a listen to this.
The truth of the matter is that you always know the right thing to do. The hard part is doing it.
I think that's pretty good. So I will use Oswald. So let's make an actual website with Santa in the background. Let's create an index.html, and what are we going to put in here? Just a title, Santa, and actually we're just going to have a background image. So that's everything. I'm just going to create a style.css, and that's basically it for now. And let's create that actual file. And I think I will use Flask for this, so I will actually create a static folder, and in there I will create the style.css. And I guess index should be in templates folder. And then we have to reference this as /static/style.css. And here we are just going to have the basic boilerplate. And the body is going to have a background, which is a URL from, I guess, static images. And let's just call it santa.png. And I guess we can do like cover and 50%, 50%. I'm not sure about the order. It seems that every order always works, but maybe it would make more sense to have this here. Let's see how that looks. And I will move the images into static. I guess that's how it works with Flask. I'm not really that familiar with Flask. And I'm going to pick some default image. Actually, did I not save the original? Where's the original? So I actually have to get that original from here, which is this one, I guess. Yes. And I will put it here and call it santa.png. And let's create the actual Flask server script. So app.py. And from Flask, we need to import Flask. And then we have to say app equal Flask with the name. And then we have to say at app.route/. And then we have to define a function, index. And this will just render template called index.html. And we have to import render template. And we have to do if name equals main. I guess like this. Then we are going to app.run. And debug is true. So now if we run this thing, python3 app.py, then we should have a server running, and it doesn't work because we have to return this. And since I'm in debug mode, it will automatically update. So if I refresh, then we have a blank page. And that is because in the style, wait a minute, maybe the order is wrong. So let's just do that and save. And I guess I don't have to refresh. Okay, so I will just do it separately. Background size, cover, and background position, 50%, 50%. So now it should look like this. And how do we make Santa speak? We need to connect to the ElevenLabs API. So let's create another route here, app.route. And let's call this like a message. And let's define the message route. And this will get the methods of post. So we're going to post a message to this route. And here we have to connect to the ElevenLabs API and actually to ChatGPT, but just to test it out, let's just say response equals, hello, I am Santa Claus. How can I help you? And let's convert this into audio with ElevenLabs. So from ElevenLabs, we have to import play and generate and set API key. And let's set the API key here first. Set API key, and I'll get it from the environment. So OS get env ElevenLabs API key. And I might have it there already, I'm not sure. Let's import OS as well. So now we should be able to generate some audio. So we can say audio equals generate. And we pass in the response as a text and the voice. So we can say voice equals Oswald. And I guess we're actually not going to play it because this is happening server side. I guess now we could play it because we are the server. The server is my computer. But this is going to be the audio. What is it actually? It is a bytes. It's bytes. So could we just return from this the bytes? So basically then this would be, I could actually call it like message.wave. I guess it doesn't matter. We can just say message. And can I return the audio? But I should set some kind of like header that this is audio, I guess. Unless Flask detects it automatically, I'm not sure. But basically now, if we post to /message, we should generate the audio and then return the audio bytes. So then we can add like a script here. Let's actually just add a script. And the source is going to be static/js.js or script.js. And what can we do there? Let's do here, just when we load the page, we are going to fetch, and we can say await fetch /message. And I always forget how to do a post with fetch. Does VS Code give me some help? Request info or URL. I do not remember, so I am going to ask ChatGPT. How do I do a post request with JS fetch? Okay, we have to define the URL, fine, and the data, and then method equals post. Okay, pretty simple. So let's do exactly this. Method post and content type, was it this way? Or it was just headers. Headers, content type is going to be application JSON. And where do we actually add the body? Just in the body property. So here, body will be just empty right now because we're not sending anything. We just do that. So we can say const response equals that. And then I think the response is still like a promise, even though we await it, maybe. No, it's like a response object or something. So then we can get response dot something. Blob. That is interesting. Blob is probably like the data. And this is a promise, so we have to do that. So const audio is that. So this is basically the raw bytes, if I am correct. And we have to await this, because it's a promise. And I will actually call this audio data. And then I will say const audio equals new audio. And this is a string. So if we were using the get method, we could just pass in here /message / and then the message here. And then I guess it would just play it. But what we can do is we can make this a data URI. So it is something like data : base 64 audio /mpeg. And I never remembered. How can I not remember this? I do it so many times. Let's ask ChatGPT. How do I create a data URI of an audio file? Okay, data, MIME type, and then charset base 64. Okay, data, MIME type, and then we get a colon, and base 64, and a comma, and then we have to base 64 encode this. But do we really have to do that? Maybe I should ask ChatGPT. How can I play audio from a blob in JavaScript? And actually I still don't know if the blob method will work. We have a create object URL. Amazing. So we can just say audio data create object URL. Sorry, the other way. URL dot create object URL audio data. Let's call this the blob. Audio blob. Or sorry, audio URI. Okay, that makes sense. So that should work. And we can just do audio dot play. Let's see if it in fact works. But we got some error here because I don't have the ElevenLabs API key, and I should have called it ElevenLabs, not just 11. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, actually, I guess ElevenLabs uses 11 API key in their actual Python module, so I could just use that. But I'm going to add my API key into the environment. Export 11, I will just use 11 API key, and I'm just going to copy my API key from here. And let's see if we even have to call set API key if it is in the environment as 11 API key. So let's run Python 3 app.py again, and so far seems to work. But when we refresh the page, are we going to generate the audio? Refresh. Did we make a request? We did not make a request, so something went wrong in our script. Let's check. Our console says that await is only valid in async functions and at the top level bodies of modules. So, wait a minute. I can't use await here. So I have to just say async function, or just do an arrow function and do like this and call this right away. Is that what I have to do? That seems stupid, but let's do that anyway. And let's go and refresh the page. And let's see, did we get any errors here? No, but we probably got an error here, but we didn't. So what happened there? We did not post to message for some reason. Oh, actually, we did post it, so we got an error. Voice Oswald not found. Interesting. I think it was called Oswald. Maybe it's the whole thing. Oswald Intelligent Professor. So let's try and change that. App.py and voice is this one. Now let's run it again. And let's refresh this page. And nothing is happening. Let's go and see. Are we doing anything here? Still, Oswald is not found. How do I actually use this voice? Do I have to add it into my voice lab? Let's find Oswald. Add to voice lab. And then if I call it Oswald, then maybe it will work. Oswald. Finish. And then I can just say Oswald, hopefully. And this was reloaded. So let's refresh and let's see what will happen. It takes quite a long time to actually generate the audio, which is kind of weird because it's a very short audio. And now we posted it, but we're not playing anything. So something went wrong in the JavaScript. Internal server error. And I think the reason is that I am trying to return just bytes from this message route. So let's ask ChatGPT how we can do that. Now, one thing we could do is we could base64 encode the bytes and then just use that in the data URI. But let's say, how do I return bytes from a Flask route? Okay, we have to create the response object and we have to set the MIME type here. Okay, so let's do that. We have to import response and we have to return a response with the audio, and the MIME type is going to be audio/MPEG, something like this. Actually, I think it's a wave, so audio/wave. And we reloaded this, so let's see if it now will work. I will clear all the errors and let's refresh. Okay, we actually tried to play it, but it says play failed because the user didn't interact with the document. So we can't play audio before we have interacted with the document. We can't play audio automatically. So let's add a button here. Button, start. And let's just put on click, start. And we are going to call this function start. And we're not going to call it directly. We're just going to define it. And Should I do this? Should I say const start is async like this? I guess that's what the JavaScript people are doing nowadays. We don't say the function keyword anymore. We define a constant that is then an arrow function. So let's try. If I refresh, then if I click start and we wait for a while,
I am Santa Claus. How can I help you?
it actually works. So now Santa Claus actually speaks. But that was surprisingly fast. I wonder if there's like a caching thing that it got the response from the cache. I think that's what happened. So if I click this,
Hello, I am Santa Claus. How can I help you?
it works really fast. Let's actually check the network. And we actually are sending the fetch. And it doesn't say that it came from the cache. So is it really that fast? I guess it is, because we are calling message multiple times. That's pretty good. Let's verify that it's not coming from cache. So I will just add, instead of Santa Claus, a name variable. And I'll say name equals random choices or choice. I think it works something like this. Import random. And I can just pass in an array here. And I can say Santa Claus and the Santa and Sanderson and the awesome Santa. So now it should change every time when we send a message. And it should say a different thing. Let's see if that is correct. Refresh and start. And now it's taking longer than before. Or maybe I have an error. I don't have an error. So it's actually taking this long for some reason.
Hello, I am Santi Sanderson. How can I help you?
Okay, it worked, but now it took a very long time. Maybe ElevenLabs is caching the requests. So let's click start again.
Hello, I'm Santa Claus. How can I help you?
And that was fast because we already created that previously. Let's try again.
Hello, I am Santi Sanderson. How can I help you?
And this was fast again because that one as well we created already. Let's try one more time.
Hello, I'm Santa Claus. How can I help you?
And that was the same one again. So I'm going to remove these two and we are going to say the Santa or the awesome. I was going to add here Santa. Let's do it again. And it's taking a long time again. Okay.
Hello, I am the awesome Santa. How can I help you?
So it works. Now we just have to animate Santa Claus speaking. But before I do that, I will take a short break. All right. I have now organized a bunch of these Santa mouth positions into separate files where every mouth position corresponds to a different character of the alphabet. Now, I didn't do all of the characters in the alphabet, and of course, when we're talking about the English language, it doesn't really work that way. You can't just have one mouth position for one character, because like in the word English, E is pronounced as E 2 times, but in the word enable, it is pronounced as E, and a silent letter in the end. But hopefully we can make it look a little bit more realistic, although I don't have very high hopes for the realisticness of this talking Santa. But let's now try to animate this speaking with the Santa on the website. Why is there blood in the mouth of this Santa? Oh no. So basically we have to do some JavaScript that will animate the mouth. So basically change between those different images. Now let's do it at first just at random. So we just change to random images. Let's create a function in our script and let's call it animate. And I guess we can do this const version now. So const animate is going to be async. And actually this is not going to be async. It's just going to be an arrow function. And what are we going to do in here? First of all, we should get all these files. And we're in the browser, so we can't really list them from the file system. So how can I create a list of these easily? I have no idea. If I ls this, then I get them here. And then I can get all of these and I can paste them in here. And how do I then make this a list? If I select this and I Control D and I put a comma in there and I do that and I remove the last ones here and I also add a quote in the beginning and a comma here. Then there are all the letters and a quote here as well. And what is missing now? I guess we just have to say const letters is this array. And something is missing from somewhere, and it is here. Okay, we have all the letters here. So basically, we should loop through all the letters and then change the background image to that letter and wait for a while and change it again. So we can do for, and I never remember in JavaScript if it's for letter in letters or off. I think it's off. I just remember it from being different than Python. So if I say in, then this is going to be the index of the letter. But if I say off, then this will be the actual letter. So I can loop through all of them, and I can change the background image. So I can just say const body equals document.querySelector. Can I just say document.body? I think I can do that. So maybe I don't even need to assign this to anything. And I just say style.background image, and perhaps I should actually do it here to a background image like this. So I will change it to another one, which is going to be, actually I have to include the URL, I guess, like that. And I named it based on the letter. So I can just do this, and I can add the letter here. So this is going to loop through all the letters and change the background image to each of the letters sequentially. But of course, this is going to be immediate, so we have to delay it somehow. So if we add just a set timeout here, and we make a function where we do this, and we add a timeout, let's call it timeout, and we can set the timeout here to be like 200, and here we are going to increment the timeout, timeout plus equals 200, maybe 300. Then now, every time the timeout will be a larger number, so then we should animate the background. But this is not a very good solution, but let's do it like this first and see what happens. So if I go now here and I run from the console, animate, then let's see what happens. Absolutely nothing. Document body style background image is not a function. Why is it not a function? That's interesting. Document body style background image equals nothing. Wait a minute. So yeah, it is not a function. That is a clear error. So we have to set the background image like this. Let's try it again. Let's go here. Let's refresh and let's animate. And not found. Because I in fact put them inside images/letters. So let's try this one more time. Refresh and go here and animate. And look at this. We are animating, but we are flashing every time, which might be because we are loading the images and it takes a while, although we are on localhost, so it should be pretty fast. Let's try it again. Yeah, it still flashes. That's interesting. Let's actually add another element here. Let's add a div with the ID background. And let's make that one also with 100%. So background with 100%, height 100%. And I guess we might just do the same thing here. And then what I can do in my script is what? What was I thinking here? Perhaps I want to add two backgrounds. So background 1, background 2. And I really don't like that I have to do this. There must be a better way, but I can't think of another way at the moment. So this is actually going to be background 1 and background 2. At first they will have the same image. And I will say here, let background equal background 1. Or just 1. Or in fact, if I want to be really clever, I could say background 0 and background 1. And then it is easy to change between 1 and 0. So here I can say const background image. What's this background? Let's call this bg num. And background is going to be background plus bgnum. And then we can say bgnum is bgnum minus 1. And if we make this an absolute number, then it should alternate, right? Because at first it is 1, minus 1 is 0, and then it's going to be 0 minus 1 is minus 1, and when we convert it into absolute, it's going to be 1. So then it will alternate every iteration. And instead of body, we say bg element, and we can say const bg element is going to be document query selector background plus, or in fact just this hash and then background. So now we change background 1 on every other iteration and background 0 with every other iteration. But then we also have to change their positions. So we need to change their Z index, and for that we have to make them position absolute. And of course these should be background 0 and background 1. And we have to change bg element dot z index, style dot z index equals 1, and in fact background, there's an n missing here, background. We have to also change the other one, although technically we could just do z index plus plus. But if we have too many iterations, then it will break. So let's make the z index 1 or 2 in fact for this one, and we have to get the other one. So let's call this background 1, and after we change this one, let's call this background 2. So then we can get bg element 1 and bg element 2 from background 1 and background 2, and 1 is going to have z index 2 and it will have the background image of the new image, and background element number 2 will have z index 1. And I feel like I'm doing this in a very overcomplicated manner, but let's see where this goes. And I probably want to change this background image first and then change the positions of them. So basically, if this element will flash, it will actually now flash as transparent, so we will just see the other element from the background. So this should work. Let's see what this monstrosity looks like. If I refresh and I go back here and I animate, then look at this. We are animating the mouth of the Santa, and it looks horrible. First of all, it should be a little bit faster, I think. So let's call it 200 in both of these, and I might want to say like const animation speed is 200, and I can add this here and this here. So let's refresh and let's animate it again. Animate, and now we are moving. It doesn't really look like it's speaking. But let's actually see what happens when we actually add some audio. But the problem with this now is that we only loop through the letters once. But actually, I want to keep looping through the elements. So we could probably do something like this. We could have an index. Let's call it index. And it will be 0 at first. And let's just call like a next frame. And we pass in the letters and the current index. And let's create that function. Const next frame is going to be an arrow function, and it will take the letters and the index. And basically it will do what we do inside of this for loop, but we can actually get the bg number from the index. So I guess we can do something like const bg num equals number from index modulo 2. So isn't that always 0 or 1? Equals 1. So this is going to be true or false, but when we cast it into a number, then it's going to be 0 or 1. But we have to get the number 1 and the number 2. So let's call this 1 and this 0. And this is 1 and this is 2. And then we are going to set the timeout. And again, we get the background element 1 and background element 2, and we flip them around and change the image. And the letter is going to be const letter equals letters index index. But then we have this timeout here. But actually, I don't want to like increment the timeout every time. I want to only pass in the animation speed here. So let's add it here, animation speed. And then we can actually call next frame again from here. And we can pass in the letters again and index +1 and the animation speed. So now it's like a recursive function. So we're going to call it over and over again. We're going to change the frame, we're going to wait for a while and then change again. And wait for a while and change again and change again. But then we have to loop back to the first one. So if index is greater than letters.length -1, then index will be 0. So now it should keep looping forever. But we need to pass in the animation speed here, animation speed, and we don't have to do any of this anymore. This should do the same thing. Of course, we can't now stop it, so we have to figure out how to stop it. But let's open this, and let's animate. And look at this. We are animating, and we are never stopping the animation. We are just looping through all of the frames, and it's going on forever. So how do we stop it? Let's figure that out. I guess we can here check first if not stopped, or just if animating, then we are going to do this. And I guess we can just set like a global variable or something. So we can set here, let animating equals false. And then when we want to animate, we just say animating equals true. And then we start to animate. And then we can have a stop animation. And we don't need any of these. We just set the animating to false. So now we should be able to start the animation and then stop the animation. Let's see if it works. Let's refresh and let's animate. And we are now animating. And if I call stop animation, then we will stop the animation. Now I guess we should go back to the first image, not the one we stopped on. So can we actually just call next frame index 0? We can't really, because we actually don't change it here. We only change it after the animation speed. Okay, yeah, we can do it. That's fine. So we can just set the animation speed to 0. So now we should go back to the original image, or the first image. Let's try it one more time. Animate. And we are animating. And then if we stop the animation now, we got letters is not defined, because we don't have the letters here now. So I should in fact define the letters outside of this thing. Let's just make it global for now. And let's try again. Refresh and animate. And we are animating. And then we are going to stop the animation. And I'm not sure if it worked. Let's animate again. And we are animating. And if I stop, it stops here again. Is that the first image? Oh, sorry. That is not the original image. We don't have this image in the letters. So in fact, I am only going to hide those elements. Let's add a class, background, and I'm just going to hide both of the background images, or remove their backgrounds, something like that. Document.querySelector, all, class background. For each, we are going to do what? We are going to e.style background image is none. And we have to pass in the e here. So this should remove the background images. And then in the actual body, we have this background. So now it should work. Animate. And we are animating. Although I saw a little bit of a movement there. But let's stop now. And it didn't work. Why did it not work? background is the class, e style background image is none. Why does that not work? Let's inspect and let's do this here. It works. Because we have the timeout in there. So when we stop the animation, we still have this timeout active. So I guess we can just move this up here and we can say if not animating, then return. So then we are not going to even change the image if we are not animating. So now it will work. Refresh. And we go here and we animate, and then we are animating. And if we stop the animation, we go back to this. But I actually know why we have that movement in the beginning. It's because of our button, although it's down here, so I'm not sure what is happening here. Let's actually make these position fixed and top 0, bottom left 0. And let's refresh. But of course, now we cannot see the button. So let's add to the button Z index of, let's say 3. And if we now refresh, the button is nowhere to be seen because we have to say position. Let's actually style the button. Let's say position fixed top 50%, left 50%, and transform, translate minus 50%, minus 50%. So then it's going to be in the center, right? If we refresh, it is here. And let's make it bigger. Font size 2em, padding 15 pixels, border radius 20 pixels, background white, border 2 pixels, solid black, box shadow RGBA 0.8, and let's have it at 30 pixels. And let's make cursor pointer. And let's refresh. So now we have a start button here. And I will do one more thing. I will add a blurred class. And I will say blur. Is it just blur? No, it's transform blur 30 pixels. I forgot how this blur works. So let's add to the body, or in fact not the body. So I wanted to have the background blurred to begin with until you click start. But if I add class blurred to the background, then what will happen if I use the blur correctly? Is it just blur 30 pixels? I forgot how to blur stuff. WebKit blur, blur, filter blur. Okay, so I have to just say filter blur 30 pixels. Is it this way? Yes. Refresh. So now the whole thing is blurred, but I only want the background to be blurred. So I'm going to say just 15 pixels, and I am going to introduce one more background. And this is just a background. And this will not have class background. And I am going to, in my style, remove the background from the body, and I'll just add another one here, background. So now we have the background, which is the default image. We have background 0 and background 1, which are the animation frames. And then I can add the blurred class to just the background, which is the ID background. So now it doesn't work for some reason. What is wrong with this? Inspect background. Is one of these visible? Yes. Why? Oh, because I add the freaking background to it. So only the background will have a background image. But I saw that it will now blur it to white, which is not really nice. So can I add like background color to be black? Is it then gonna blur to black? It is not. I will add black background to the body. So now it blurs into black and it looks pretty good. So when I start, I am going to remove it. Document query selector background class list remove blurred. So now when we open it, it opens like this, and when we click start, then we're actually going to speak now.
I am the awesome Santa. How can I help you?
And we also want to animate while we are speaking. So let's try to do that. When we play the audio, we have to call animate. I'll just call it start animation, like that. So now we have start animation and stop animation. And then we can add to the audio an event listener, audio.add event listener, ended. And here what we are going to do is we are going to say stop animation. So now when we stop speaking, we stop the animation. Let's see how this works. Refresh. Start.
Hello, I am the Santa. How can I help you?
Okay, it works, but it looks horrible. And we still had some sort of movement of the background when we started. What is happening there? Let's actually try. Animate. Sorry, it's now start animation. Okay, it moves. Why does it move? Let's inspect, and that is interesting. So if we now stop the animation, it moves back up. Weird. Because the body does not have anything. It has just a black background. So what is the difference between this one and that one? Why does it move? I am not quite sure. Oh, actually I know what the issue is. So I have created the other images with this Adobe Express, and it's a different aspect ratio. So I have to go back here and save this one as the default. So then it's going to have the same aspect ratio. So I copy this and I put it here, and I remove that, and this is going to be called santa.png. So now it works. And I also want to remove the start button when we start. So I will add here document query selector, and let's add a ID for it, start.remove. And let's add an ID start. And I will also change in my style this to have start. Okay, so now when we click start,
Hello, I am the awesome Santa. How can I help you?
it will start speaking to us. But the animation is not very good. So let's see how we can fix that. First of all, I think the mouth should move a little bit faster. So I will set the animation speed to 150. And let's try it again. Start.
Hello, I am the awesome Santa. How can I help you?
Okay. It's a little bit better. But I really would like to stop at like a U frame in the end when it says, how can I help you? So do I have here in the letters a U? This. So it should end with this if the speech ends with U. So actually what I need from this endpoint is not just the audio, but I need the response text. So let's do this. Let's return a dictionary, which will be automatically converted into JSON. And let's return audio, which is going to be base 64 encoded audio. So we have to import base 64, and we encode the audio. And actually this is not the right function. We have to say B64 encode. And this returns bytes, so we also have to decode the bytes into UTF-8. And then we can also return the response, which will be the response. So that's the response text. And then in our script, when we post to our message, we can actually not get the blob, but we get the JSON, which will be response.json, and the URI will now be data audio/wave and a semicolon and base 64 and comma, and then we just add here JSON audio, or should we say dot audio. And then we will also have in JSON dot response the response text. So what we have to do then is we have to start the animation with different kind of letters. So basically letters that are in the response. So let's change our start animation function to actually take the letters. And how do we determine the letters based on what is said in the audio? Now technically it's just the letters that come from the audio, but we might not have all the letters. So let's actually call this all letters or available letters or something. Just all letters. And then we can do a for loop here. Let's say let I equal 0, I less than JSON.response.length, I plus plus. And let's set a const letters here, which will be empty at first. And for every letter in the response, we are going to pick a letter from the available letters. So const letter equals JSON response index I. And let's also do 2 lowercase. And if all letters has own property, not really has own property, it's not a dictionary or an object, it is includes letter. So if we have this letter in the letters, then we are going to add to the letters for this particular animation letters.push letter. And I guess this could be just let letter, and we can add this in the end because we want to push a letter for every character. And if the letter is not in the available letters, then we just pick a random letter. So then the letter is going to be all letters index math.random times all letters.length and parse int, right? So this is going to be the random element from the letters. Something like this. Maybe it's not quite accurate, but it should be somewhat accurate. Maybe the last character is now never selected, but I don't care. It should work. And let's actually just console.log here that we got this one and it converted into letter. So we can see what is going on here. Now this is of course still not going to be in sync because we don't know how fast the speech is. But let's see what happens. So we have to start the animation with the letters. And let's try it out. Refresh and open the console and start. And perhaps I ran out of characters. Let's see. No, we didn't get any errors. It is really this slow. Yeah, we are still waiting for the answer from this. It is pending. Maybe something is wrong with my code. There shouldn't be anything wrong with this. Okay, now we got an error. We got a very interesting error. Less than not supported between instances of string and bytes. Why are we trying to sort something? Let's extract this into audio B64. And let's say audio B64 is that. And let's just print audio B64 just to see if it actually crashes already there or where does it crash. Let's try again. Start. And let's see. It's still loading, so it's connecting to the ElevenLabs API. Maybe I ran out of characters, but I think I should get an actual error from that. Let's go to subscription, and I still have characters left. And we got this error again. But we have the base64 encoded stuff here. Why do we get that error? This is so weird. Here's my code. The print statement prints the B64 encoded audio just fine, but then it crashes. The issue with your code lies in the way you're constructing the dictionary that you're returning from message. Really? I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. This is the way you construct a dictionary in Python. Awesome. So now it's going to work. Let's try. Refresh and start.
Hello, I am the awesome Santa. How can I help you?
Okay, it still worked. let's see the console. What did we actually convert? So we did convert it properly. So H converted into H, E converted into E, L converted into L, and O converted into O, and so on. Now we have these special characters here, which might cause some issues, especially in the end, because now we are not going to end in U, because we have a question mark in there. So I guess we should only get the letters from A to Z. So let's remove this print statement from here, and let's remove those extra characters. How do we do that? We're not going to use JSON.response anymore directly. We are going to say stripped response, and const stripped response equals JSON response dot replace. And I guess we can just do like regex here. So let's do a global regex, and not A to Z will be replaced with nothing. And I'm going to do the lowercase thing up here, so we don't have to do this anymore. So that should work. But we still have the issue that it is not in sync, because if we wait too long between frames, then we might not get to the last character ever in the animation. So let's do this. In our app, let's also return the length or the duration of the audio. Audio duration. And how do we get that? We can use probably PyDub here, but I don't remember how to use that. So let's ask ChatGPT, how do I get the duration of an audio file in Python? I have the bytes. Now, there might be something actually in this response, although it's just bytes, so we don't have the length. So we have to calculate the duration. Okay, so we import PyDub, and specifically audio segment from it, and we import IO, and we use this bytes IO wrapper to pass in the audio bytes, and then convert it into an audio segment, and then, oh, we can get the length just like this. That's great. Let's copy this and paste it here. So we need PyDub and we need IO. Let's create a function, audio duration, and we get the audio bytes. So we are going to do that, and we are just going to return the length of the audio. So pretty easy. So we can actually use it here. Audio duration of the audio. So that is milliseconds, which actually works perfectly for us. So then we can get it here, and we can change the animation speed based on that. So I'm going to pass the animation speed in here as well, and I'm going to calculate it up here. The animation speed is going to be what? Const animation speed is going to be the length of the stripped response times length or duration per character. Or in fact, it's just going to be the duration per character. So what is that? It is the full duration divided by the stripped response length. And duration is just going to be JSON.duration. And I guess it can be a float. I guess we can pass in a float to set timeout, so we don't have to convert that. Now again, not a very accurate way of doing it, but it should be somewhat correct. At least the first letter and the last letter should be the correct frame. Let's see if it works. Refresh. And start.
Hello, I'm the awesome Santa. How can I help you?
Okay, we did end with the U sound, but it was kind of late. So how can we solve that issue? We can't use the ended to detect when the speech ends, because there might be some empty space in the end. Let's see this one more time. What does it look like?
Hello, I'm the Santa. How can I help you?
Okay, it's actually not terrible, but we, in fact, don't need the ended because we have the duration. So we can just set timeout, which will be a function that will call stop animation, and we are going to here pass in the JSON.duration. And we can do minus something. So let's actually take here const duration equals JSON.duration, and let's minus like 300 milliseconds. And then we can pass here the duration. So this is the actual duration that we consider the audio to be. So there's going to be a little bit in the end that is not actual audio. So we stop the animation before the actual audio ends because there might be empty stuff in there. Let's try again. Start.
Hello, I am the awesome Santa. How can I help you?
That was actually perfect. I mean, it's still not amazing, but it ended with you. Let's try one more time. Start.
Hello, I am the awesome Santa. How can I help you?
That looks pretty good. Now, one issue is that we are changing the image for every letter, but that's not really how speech works. So we should like convert it into phonetics or something. I wonder if there's some way of doing that in Python. Has someone already created like a phonetics converter? Let's actually Google it. Python, English text to phonetics. Eng to IPA. That's pretty cool. That's actually exactly what we want. We are going to do this. Let's install this. Pip install eng to IPA. And then what we can do is actually we have to stop this and start it over. But we can import, how did it work? Import eng to IPA as IPA. Great. Let's do that. And let's return it here. IPA is IPA.eng to IPA response. So then we can actually, instead of using letters here, we can use the IPA characters here. Let's see how that works. I'm just going to print this thing, or I will just run it and I will see what is in there. If I refresh and I start it again, I get an error. Module object is not callable. What did I do? IPA.what? Convert, sorry. IPA.convert. And it will return hopefully a string. Yes. Let's try one more time. Refresh and start.
Hello, I am the awesome Santa. How can I help you?
Okay, and let's see the console, the network tab, and what did we get from the message? We got this IPA, which is now converted into this. So how do I convert this now to regular text? JSON Unicode converter. Okay, here we have some of these IPA characters. So basically we have U, which is fine, but we also have this kind of U. So let's copy this. And actually I will copy my U and I will name it this one. And what else? We have the E sound, hello. So what do I want to use for he? That's pretty good. The L sound, it looks kind of like E. So I'm going to copy the L and I am going to add this in here. And what else? We also have the A sound. Let's do that. What is the A sound? I guess that looks like A. So S. For some reason, before I thought this looks like S. That was the closest thing to S. But this is now A. Alright, and now I have to, of course, convert this into a list in our JavaScript code again. So I will do this again and copy these. And I am going to put them in here. Okay, let's see if this works any better. Let's refresh and let's start.
Hello, I am the awesome Santa. How can I help you?
Okay, for some reason that wasn't as good. And the reason is I forgot to actually change where I read the response. So stripped response is actually going to be response.ipa. IPA, right? Yes. So I was still getting the actual response, but I want just the IPA from there. Let's try again. Start.
Hello, I am the Santa. How can I help you?
Okay, not amazing. Let's try again.
Hello, I am the awesome Santa. How can I help you?
Something is wrong because we are not ending in the U sound now. Where am I calculating duration divided by stripped response length? Oh, sorry. I can now replace it like this. Is there a question mark here? Yes. How can I allow these IPA characters? At least I want to remove these exclamation points and question marks. Let's just do that first. So a question mark and a exclamation point will be removed, and also this character. Let's see if that will work. And spaces as well. Let's try again. Start.
Hello, I am the Santa. How can I help you?
It's still not correct. Let's console log stripped response and see what is there actually. Start.
Hello, I am the Santa. How can I help you?
Maybe I'm just stopping it short because the end looks like it's wrong, but in between it looks like it's correct. And we did not print anything. Oh, it's here. Okay, first of all, we did not strip these characters. Maybe it's not that kind of apostrophe. Okay, it's a different kind of apostrophe. So let's replace that one as well. And perhaps I am stopping the animation too early, so we don't get the last frame. So I'll say duration plus animation speed, and I'll get it in here before that. Maybe that will work. Let's try again. Refresh. Start.
Hello, I am the awesome Santa. How can I help you?
I still feel like it's not correct. Let's go to our network tab, and we actually did load U in the end. So it's correct. What is U? It's this. Maybe it's just too quick. It goes back to normal before I can see the last frame. But does this look any better now? Let's try one more time.
Hello, I am the awesome Santa. How can I help you?
Yeah, there is a U in the end. It's pretty good. Okay, let's now connect ChatGPT into this. So then we can actually get different responses from Santa. So we are going to import from OpenAI, import OpenAI. And client is going to be OpenAI. And again, my OpenAI API key comes from the environment. So I have set the OpenAI API key environment variable. So I don't have to specify that in my code. And here we are just going to do this. We don't need random anymore. We are going to say that response equals client.chat.completions.create. And model is going to be GPT 3.5 Turbo. And messages is going to be a list. Let's add a system message. And here we can say, you are Santa Claus. Answer as Santa Claus talking to a child. And then we are going to add our user message. And that is going to be request dot, how do I actually do it? I guess it's something like, no wait, we are posting JSON in this, right? So we get it from the JSON. I don't remember how to do that. How do I get JSON from a request in Flask? Import Flask and request, and then data equals request.json. Okay, and that will be the dictionary that we get from there. So we just include request. We don't need the response anymore because we are not creating that. And we can just say request.json, and we can get from that dictionary the key of message, which we really should check if it exists and then give an error. But just to be real quick here, we're going to do this and assume that there will be a message every time. And then we are just going to get the message, which is going to be response choices 0 message. And message text is going to be message.content. And we pass the message text here as the response. And here as well. And here as well. And do we need anything else? I will also add here, be funny. And then of course we have to send a message. So we should actually create a function that sends a message, which is basically our start function right now. So I will actually leave the start function as just this. We just remove the blur and we remove the start button. And then I'm going to add another one. Const send message is a function. And this is an async function. And it does this. And it gets the message. And it will add it here. So we are going to say message is going to be, actually I will just do JSON.stringify. And here we will have a message, which is going to be the message. And this one does not need to be an async function anymore. So now we can basically just manually call this from the terminal or the console, and we can send a message. And then we should get a response back from ChatGPT as Santa Claus. Let's see if it works. Refresh, start. And nothing happens now. We just have to have this start so that we can actually play audio. And if we then go to DevTools and we go to console, and let's say here, send message. Hello, Santa. How are you? And send it. And we got an error. Let's see what the error was. Connection aborted. That is an interesting error. Why did we get that? I have no idea what happened here. I'm going to restart the server. And it seems like it happened in our generate. Why? Let's print here message text. And let's also print this. Print message is that. And this is the response. And let's try it again. Refresh, start, go to console and send a message. And let's see what we get here. We got the response. Ho, ho, ho. Well, hello there. Let's go back here and wait for the response.
Ho, ho, ho. Well, hello there, my little friend. I'm as jolly as can be, with a big smile on my face and a belly full of cookies. How about you, my little helper? How are you today?
Okay. It kind of works, but it's not in sync at all. One of the biggest problems is that when it pauses, the animation doesn't pause. So we should do a lot more processing to actually know when it is speaking. Perhaps we might use Whisper to do that. So we could actually get the timestamps of the words and then sync it based on that. But hey, it kind of works. Let's say something else. Send message. Hello, Santa. How can I get more presents?
Ho, ho, ho. Well, my little elf friend, the key to getting more presents is not just in being good, but also in being clever. You see, I have quite the soft spot for witty little children like yourself. So here's a little secret. Santa absolutely loves hearing creative and funny jokes. The funnier your joke, the more likely you are to find extra presents under your Christmas. It's like a jingle bell jackpot. So let your imagination run wild and make old Santa Claus laugh his belly like a bowl full of jelly. Just remember, the more laughter, the merrier the presents. Ho, ho, ho.
Okay, so actually in the end, the ho, ho, ho looked pretty good. So let's now finally connect speech recognition to this, so we can actually speak to Santa Claus without having to type anything or right now opening the console. Now we could use Whisper for this, either the API or the locally running Whisper, but there is in fact in the browser a speech recognition API called WebSpeech API. So we can use this. So there should be an example here in the Mozilla documentation. They actually have a GitHub repository. And here we have, for example, this speech color changer. And let's go to the script.js and let's copy the whole thing. And let's paste it into our script.js. And we can simplify this quite a lot. We don't have to do all of this stuff. So here's how we initialize this speech recognition. So there will be either a speech recognition that the browser provides, or a WebKit speech recognition. So we just get it into this speech recognition variable. And I don't think we need these grammar list and recognition events. I think we don't need them. And we don't need these colors. And we just start the recognition, and we are not going to use grammar lists. And we can, I guess, set these things. So continuous and the language, and I'm not sure what interim results means, and max alternatives. So we'll just leave them as they are. And we don't need to do any of that stuff. We just need to do recognition start. And basically, we want to do this when we do the start. So we have our start function down here. So we just do recognition.start. And what else? I guess we could move these inside the start. So we remove the blur and the button, and then we do speech recognition start. We initialize the stuff and then we start it. And then we have some event listeners. We have on result, in which we can get the transcript of the result. So basically the speech. So we can say that the message is going to be that. And we don't need this on no match. And we might want to handle the error somehow. But basically we can then move all this stuff in our start. And we can say when we get a result, we take the message. Let's use const here, since we are in 2023 here. And let's just send message with the message that we said. And in fact, I'm not going to do this recognition stop, because the on result, I think it happens every time you stop speaking. But we want to continuously do it. Although the thing is, we don't want to then recognize what Santa says back as speech. So maybe we do want to say on speech end, recognition stop. And on error, we can just do something like console.error, and we can get the error from there. And let's add some more spaces here. So that means if we stop the recognition, we have to start it after the audio ends. So I guess we can do it here. And do we still have the reference to recognition? I believe we have, because we are calling it here. So then basically we are going to stop the recognition when we stop speaking, and after we get the response from Santa and it finishes speaking, then we are going to start recognition again, and we can send another message. Let's see if it works. Let's do some console logging here. Actually we are logging already something here. We are logging the letters. So let's only log this stripped response. And let's see if that works. Refresh and start. And of course, it wants to use the microphone, so we have to do allow on every visit. Hello, Santa. How are you?
Ho, ho, ho. Well, hello there, my merry little friend. Santa is as jolly as ever, especially now that Christmas is just around the snowy corner. How are you, my curious little elf?
Okay, so it works, but first of all, we are not recognizing anymore, and we didn't animate it for some reason. Why was that? I removed the wrong thing. I was gonna remove this logging, not this pushing of the letter. But it actually works. But we didn't start the recognition again. Maybe we don't have the reference to that anymore. Can we see some errors here? Yeah, recognition is not defined. So can I just do it in the beginning, like globally? Let's just do this here. So now we should have this global reference to recognition. And I guess this can be const. So now I should have a reference to it. Let's try one more time. Refresh. Start. Hello there, Santa. How are you doing today?
Ho, ho, ho. Hello there, my merry little friend. Santa is doing just dandy, thank you for asking. Just finished a snowball fight with the elves, and now I'm all fired up to spread some Christmas cheer. How can I jingle your bells today?
Can you tell me how many presents I'm getting this year?
Ho, ho, ho. Well, my little friend, Santa's magic crystal ball says you're getting... Drumroll, please. 1, 2, 3, hold on a second. Oopsie daisy. The crystal ball just winked at me and whispered, surprise, surprise. So it looks like it's going to be a magical mystery just how many presents you'll get this year. But remember, It's not just about the number of gifts under the tree, but the joy they bring to your heart that truly matters. Santa's sure you'll have a jolly time on Christmas Day.
Okay, Santa, can you tell me a joke?
Ho, 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 of course I can. Here's a jolly joke for you, my little friend. Why did the bicycle fall over? Because it was too tired. Ho, ho, ho. Remember, laughter is the best gift of all.
Thank you, Santa. That was a very nice joke. Merry Christmas.
Ho, ho, thank you, my little friend. I'm glad you enjoyed the joke. Making people laugh is one of the secrets to being a good Santa Claus, you know. Laughter is like magic. It can make even the snowman giggle. So remember, always keep that smile shining bright, and you'll bring joy to everyone you meet. Keep spreading the holiday cheer, my jolly pal. Ho, ho, ho.
Can you please give an outro for my YouTube video where I created you a talking Santa?
Ho, ho, ho. Well, hello there, my merry little friend. Santa Claus here, ready to help create a jolly outro for your YouTube video featuring yours truly, the Talking Santa. Are you ready to spread some Christmas cheer? Here goes nothing, my festive friend. As we reach the end of this merry video, I, Santa Claus, must bid you adieu. But fear not, my jingle bell rockers, for the Christmas spirit is alive and well all year round. Remember, kindness, joy, and a little sprinkle of magic can truly make every day feel like a sleigh ride over a field of candy canes. So, my dear viewers, keep the holiday spirit alive in your hearts and let your laughter shine as bright as Rudolph's nose. And always remember, Santa Claus is watching, to make sure you're being good, of course. Until we meet again, keep being merry, keep spreading joy, and always remember to leave out some extra cookies and milk for this Santa Claus. Ho, 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 merry YouTubing and a happy new outro. There you have it, my little elf. I hope that outro brings a smile to everyone's faces and fills them with extra holiday cheer. Don't forget to leave a little Christmas magic in every video you make. Ho, ho, ho!
Okay, that works. But now I have no way to stop this thing, so I'll just refresh the page so it will not send any more requests to ChatGPT. But there you have it. It actually works now, so you can talk to Santa and Santa will respond back to you. So I might add a stop button to this or something so that you can actually stop it and do a couple more refactorings. And then I'll push this to my GitHub if you want to try it out. And I might in fact publish this on a server so you can actually try it out. You can see the link in the description if you want to check it out. But anyway, thanks for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see videos like this in the future, then make sure to subscribe to my channel and I'll see you in the next one.